Life is like the changing seasons. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. As we continued a 7-part series diving deep into the art of magical thinking, unpacking the wisdom of the Kybalion and looking at the principle of rhythm, this short video could just turn out to be the jumping off point you are waiting for as you consider a more holistic, organic, and natural way of returning to your home frequency and mastering the path of magical thinking. More on that when we come back. Welcome back. This is Dr. John Michael Salvato, and we are now on part 5 of our 7-part series on the 7 Hermetic principles, the principle of rhythm. I'm excited to share this with you today because this is one that particularly made a big difference in my understanding of the world around me and how to master that world. So the principle of rhythm says that everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Now this tells us that the idea of this principle of rhythm is that it's all about balance, right? It's all about that to the degree that things go to the left, things will go back to the right and then come back to the left again. Now there's some powerful magical insight, I believe, in the principle of rhythm. It's a universal law, first of all, so we have to understand that we can see evidence of the principle of rhythm all around us, just as we see that evidence of the principle of polarity and the principle of correspondence and so on. Now, winter always follows autumn, spring always follows winter, day always follows night, and night always follows the day. So we see this rhythm, we see it in the tides, in the lunar cycles, and in the seasons. And as we begin to understand this immutable law in its direct relationship to the principle of polarity, we begin to understand better how the universe works within and without. This is what I call the alchemy of empowerment. You see, once the practitioner understands that apparent opposites are simply variant degrees, as we talked about in the law of polarity, that dark and light, hot and cold, happy and sad are really variant degrees of the same thing, and recognizes the essential difference, the polarity itself, is only a matter of vibrational frequency. And when the practitioner understands that the ebb and flow, or the rhythm, is an immutable law which affects all things visible and invisible, then the practitioner can unlock the key to mastery of their own experiences by learning to master themselves. Let me give you an example. Let's imagine, for an example, that this is Johnny. Johnny's an alchemist and a witch who understands that the cycle of the seasons, a witchy way of expressing the principle of rhythm, is an immutable law. Now, Johnny has a teacher, a wise, loving, and wonderful man called Jim Rohn, who once told him a story. He said, "Life is about constant, predictable patterns of change, and the only constant factor will be our feelings and attitudes toward life itself. We as human beings have the power of attitude, and that attitude determines choice, and choice determines results. All that we are and all that we can become has indeed been left for us to decide and interpret through our attitude and our choices. Life is like the changing seasons. You can't change the seasons, but you can change your life. So the first major lesson in life is learn how to handle the winters. They come regularly, right after autumn. Some are long, some are short, some are difficult, some are easy, but they always come right after autumn, and that's not going to change. There are all kinds of winters. There are the winters when you can't figure it out, the winter when everything seems to go awry. There are economic winters, social winters, and personal winters. Winter time can be and bring disappointment, and disappointment is common to all of us. So you've got to learn how to handle the winters. You have to learn how to handle difficulty. It always comes after opportunity, and that's never going to change. The big question is what to do about the winters. You can't get rid of January simply by tearing it off the calendar. But here's what you can do. You can get stronger. You can get wiser. You can get better. Remember that trio of words: stronger, wiser, better. The winters won't change, but you can. Before I understood this, I used to wish for summer when it was winter. When things were difficult, I wished they were easy. I didn't know any better, but then my mentor, Earl Schoaf, gave me the answer from part of his unique philosophy when he said, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. And when I heard my teacher, the late Mr. Jim Rohn, speak those words, it was a life changer for me. It was like the light bulb going off. I understood the principle of rhythm in daily life. You see, Johnny in our story is aware that the principle of rhythm applies to his mood and emotions as well as everything else in life. So some days he's happy and other days not so much. The pendulum keeps on swinging. You see, I understood that the principle of rhythm dictates that the pendulum is going to swing perpetually to and fro, and that the practitioner of alchemy is able to step off at any point. That's the magic. We call this the mental law of neutralization, and we'll talk about that on another show. When Johnny in our story notices that his mood pendulum is headed toward the sad side of the spectrum, Johnny realizes that both happy and sad are the same thing. They're both moods. And that the only difference between them is vibrational frequency. So as a result, Johnny has the power to say, no, I'm not going to ride this pendulum to sadness. And he has the opportunity to step off that pendulum and find his point of innate equilibrium, which we call his home frequency. See, this is how personal mastery begins to be cultivated in our lives. We understand that the principle of polarity and the principle of rhythm are the gateway to rediscovering our home frequency. And our home frequency is the key to personal and magical mastery. So I want to ask you a question. What if there was a way to stack the deck so that your own body's innate ability to navigate the waters of anxiety, depression, sadness, or low energy, even anger and frustration, was working in your favor to ensure a better chance of regaining that home frequency more easily and living a happier life? Well, I'm going to answer that question in just a couple days as we bring some incredible guests onto our weekly talk show, The Brew, and talk about the benefits and the ability for you to stack the deck so that it works, and so that your entire body is working in your favor as you move toward mastery of these fundamental principles of alchemy. So stay tuned. Just a quick word that today's show was sponsored by the Mental Wellness Movement, helping men and women reclaim the path to a healthier mind, body, and spirit. For more information, you could visit mentalwellnessmovement.org and take a free mental wellness assessment by scrolling to the bottom of that page and clicking on the banner. Until next time, I hope that these past 5 or 10 minutes have been helpful for you. I hope that the insights that you've been able to gain are something that helps you to think. We ask you to not accept anything we say, but to allow the words that we speak to wash over you, and that which resonates with you to be that jumping off point for you to begin thinking and experiencing for yourself. Stay in the moment. Be grateful for everything you've got. And always remember, the best is yet to come. We'll talk to you soon.